Hello, and welcome to the Finny Games. It's your host, BBG, aka BrokeBlackGamer. What's good, my BGs? Today I want to talk about the 50 series Super Series. And how I believe these cards are going to be. If I'm interested in buying one, if you're interested in buying one, let me know. And also just your overall opinion. Nvidia lately, they seem to be kind of on a downward spiral. AMD is a lot more competitive now. Like apparently Nvidia only has 54 or 56% of the market share. So AMD is doing a lot better, especially with the 9070 XT, with FSR4 actually being extremely competitive now. And a lot of gamers just modding FSR4 into games. It's just seemed like an incredible experience. And I was actually thinking about getting a 50 series super card, but AMD is looking extremely competitive, and I would actually like to wait and see what AMD does in the future. I wish that AMD would release a 80 series card that would be one more of the high end of things. Just because with 4K gaming, that's realistically what you need nowadays. So I am looking forward and hoping that AMD will finally release like a 9080 GPU or a 1080 or 180 or whatever the heck it's going to be called. That would be amazing. So the 5070 Ti Super, that GPU looks like it will have 18 gigabytes of VRAM, which I think is actually pretty ideal in 2025. Another thing that looks good is the 5080 Super with 24 gigabytes of VRAM. That looks like a competitive GPU as well. And then we have honestly, I haven't really paid any attention to any of the other Super Series GPUs, the 5070 Ti Super, 5070 Super. I think the 5070 Super, that will have 16 gigabytes of VRAM, and that would be good for most people. And I hope that these GPUs are reasonably priced. It looks like the Nvidia GPU prices are finally like at and below MSRP, because they're making room for the 50 Super Series GPUs that are going to be coming up. And I would really like, I'd really like to see these GPUs actually offer a good performance bump. I know a lot of people have been saying that the 5080 Super, it's not going to make much of a difference in the regular 5080. It's just going to have more VRAM because of, I remember when the during the 40 series, with the 4060 and the 4060 Ti, the 8 gigabyte model versus the 16 gigabyte model, it didn't make a difference. But if you look at the 5060 8 gigabyte model and the 5060 Ti 16 gigabyte model, there actually seems to be a huge difference with those GPUs. There was a 5060 Ti and the 58 gigabyte and 5060 Ti 16 gigabyte. There was a substantial leap in performance when you got the 16 gigabyte of VRAM. So I'm hoping that we see the same with the 5080 versus the 5080 Super. I'm not going to buy it day one because I feel like that'd be erroneous to do, just of how the GPUs have been lately. But I do think that the 5080 Super is a huge contender for me. And of course I would trade my 4080 Super in so I could get it a little bit cheaper. But it also just depends on how much it's selling for. I did want a 4090, but I can't find a 4090 for anywhere from, I can only see them from 2,000 to, I can only see them from like $2,000 to $4,000. And it's just like, I don't want to pay that much for old, like a 3-4 year old GPU that's been used. Like, that's just not how much money I want to pay on a used GPU. To me, that's just crazy. It's like, if I were going to do that, I'd rather just buy a 5090 brand new, because you can find some of those models for $2,000. Even at my local micro center, they have the Zotac AMP Extreme for $2,000. They had a couple of models of those. So to be competitive, the 5080 Super for me would have to be around $1,000 to $1,200. Because if it's anything more than that, I would prefer just to buy a 5090 and cough up the extra cash. But again, like, just $2,000 for a GPU, it honestly doesn't really seem that worth it to me, especially with my recent purchase of an OLED monitor. I would kind of just be satisfied waiting for a little while, as being realistic with finances. And that brings me to my next thing, the 5070 Ti Super at 18 gigabytes of VRAM. I'm actually really excited to see how that performs. I'm wondering how it will compare to a 4080 Super. I know it with those 2 extra gigabytes of VRAM and the 5000 series, they overclock really well. So that would be something that's interesting for me to look at as well. But again, I really am skeptical about Nvidia nowadays. I really do want to see AMD throw in something more of a high-end GPU instead of like mid-range high-end, just more of a high-end GPU. The 9070 XT has showed us what AMD is capable of, and it's amazing. FSR4 is amazing, and I would really just like to see, again, I'd really just like to see AMD do something in the high end. I know I keep saying that, but it's just frustrating that they don't have something out that's in like my market for me. But so for me, my next GPU upgrade, it might be a 5080 Super. I might wait to see what AMD does, and maybe the 6080 series GPUs for Nvidia will be okay. But right now it looks like AMD is doing this when it comes to GPU gaming, or G gaming, and Nvidia is doing this. Sorry, Nvidia is definitely doing this, and AMD is doing this. So with that trajectory, it looks like that AMD is catching up rapidly. And with that rapid catch up, like, I'm not really that confident about Nvidia anymore. Like, I'm kind of like just leaning back and just thinking, like, the only Nvidia GPU that really seems worth the money is the 90 class cards, and maybe the 80 Super class card, just for 4K high-end gaming. But that's all I want to talk about today. I'm just getting a little bit more eager. I believe these cards are supposed to release sometime early next year, so we do have a wait. They are like kind of seeming like they're trying to get rid of the base 50 class cards, so we shall see where this goes. But anyway, with that being said, the Finny games are over for today. Please help me, my channel out, by liking the video, sharing the video, subscribing to the channel. I know I normally don't ask this, but since I've been having a hiatus, I am definitely out of the algorithm, so I really do need y'all's help. And sorry for that, I'm just blabbering and rambling. We'll get back to a schedule with more cohesive videos soon, but I don't want to just leave you guys hanging, so I want to do a video today right before I go to work. So thank you for watching. The Finny games are over for today.